At a high school Class 1A, our MC, Takuya, stands out, not for charm or athleticism, but for his passion for anime made for girls. Today he's glowing with pride, clutching a limited edition Kiramon eraser he brought just to admire. Mid-ramble about its rarity, Ichiji suddenly snatches it and cheerfully asks to borrow it. He panics, stammering a protest, but she blinks, promising to return it. His voice cracks as he insists it's precious. Girls are his weak spot, and Ichiji's wild energy throws him completely off, even if she isn't his type. She often hangs around Amane, a graceful beauty admired by many, but also not quite his type. Still examining the eraser, Ichiji confidently misidentifies it as a Pokémon. Takuya immediately corrects her. It's Kiramon from the Corellia arc, with the green jewel first appearing in Chapter 4. Then, calmly and without looking up, Amane corrects him. It shows up in Episode 2. His soul nearly leads his body, she knew. Ichiji, baffled, asks how. Amane rises, eraser still in hand, saying her sister's a big Kiramon fan. Staring, Takuya wonders, could Amane be an otaku too? He hides behind a book, fearing discovery, but hope pushes him to follow her after class. He calls out only for her to spin, slam him into the wall, and snap at him to stop. Flustered, he blurts that he just meant Kiramon. She insists it's her sister who watches it, not her, then storms off. Apologizing, he mutters he didn't think someone like her would care about a Kiramon keychain anyway. She freezes, slowly backtracks, snatches it from him, and gasps. It's the Manga Volume 1 bonus. She lights up, saying she searched 3 stores but only found regular versions. He chuckles, admitting it took effort. Watching her face glow, he thinks she looks excited. Adorably so. She softly mutters how nice and firm it feels, and sighs about her sister's disappointment. He admits he had to, and offers the spare. Her smile widens as she pockets it, saying her sister will be thrilled. Charmed, he tells her he'll bring more tomorrow. And right then, he decides, it doesn't matter anymore whether she's an otaku or not. Ichiji Kotoko easily befriends people. As per habit, she looks back at Takuya and casually asks if he's on Instagram. He stiffens and wonders what it matters. She brushes it off, claiming he just seems like someone who would post cool stuff. Reluctantly, he admits to having a private account for fun. Internally, he's already spiraling. It's filled with Kiramon merch and doodles. Before he can react, she grabs his phone and opens the app. He almost chokes as she scrolls through, chuckling at the flood of content. Panic surges. He imagines classmates sneering, mocking his hobby in art. But instead, she lights up, points at a sketch, and calls it both adorable and badass. Surprised, she asks if he really drew it, commenting that it looks almost professional. Embarrassed, he mumbles if she doesn't think it's weird. She frowns, replying that it's the opposite. It's impressive how passionate he is, and that kind of passion deserves respect. Her words hit him like a crack of light. He remembers she's said similar things before. Holding out the phone again, she suggests solo posts are boring and that they should start sharing together. Without hesitation, she takes a photo, posts it, and hands the phone back. He gapes, hand reaching for the phone to delete it. But she warns him not to. She'll be checking. His finger hovers, then drops. Watching her smile, he realizes that while he may not have gained a follower, he's found something far more meaningful. Later that night, curled up in bed, he dives into Episode 7 of Kiramon, a show meant for little girls, but one that calms him every time. The episode, Why the Tears, focuses on Pachi, the sharp-tongued rival. Normally unlikable, tonight reveals his scars, a troubled past, a guarded heart, and a harsh love hidden behind cruelty. Then comes the devastating blow. He sacrifices himself for Sachiko, a moment that had been foreshadowed. The impact overwhelms him. He cries so intensely, he passes out for a day. When he wakes, a heavy ache lingers in his chest, begging to be shared. But with who? No one else watches Kiramon, and it's not something he can casually bring up. However, as he enters class the next morning, one quiet hope remains. Maybe she watched it too. The moment he steps inside, he spots her at her desk and freezes. Something's off. Her usual calm demeanor feels heavy, her eyes red with faint but visible tear streaks. The distant look on her face speaks volumes. She felt it too. Around them, boys whisper and nudge, one commenting that she looks like someone in love, like a scene from a drama. That brings him back to reality. There could be countless reasons for her tears. Maybe he's imagining things. Ichiji leans in, frowning, and asks if she's okay. Amane shrugs with a weak smile, claiming it was just a fight with her sister. His eyes twitch. Just that? Ichiji nods, mentioning that sibling fights can be tough, recalling her own brothers. He listens. As an only child, he had assumed the whole sister thing was just a cover for her Kiraman obsession. But maybe not. Nearby, boys complain about their game freezing, muttering that the devs need to fix it. At that, she suddenly jumps and exclaims, "Patchy?" startling the whole room. The boys blink, asking if she plays and offering to add her. She quickly dismisses it, saying she thought they were referring to something else. But our Otaku sees it. That wasn't about the game. That was about Patchy. Her reaction was too genuine. This isn't just about a sister. In that moment, he's sure she might really be an Otaku. Later, while watching the latest Kiraman episode featuring Michi, the sparkling idol master, he freezes mid-bite. Her voice, her glow, it clicks. Doesn't that remind him of Ichiji? The next morning, she bursts into class radiating light. Her friends rush over, chatting excitedly about the weekend. One gushes about Starbucks with Takumi, and she laughs, teasing that he's the one she was live streaming with. The group laughs, warmth crackling around her as Taki sits back, quietly scowling. How could he ever say it? That she reminds him of Michi from Kiraman. That this bubbly, popular girl reminds him of a cartoon idol? Impossible. Still, the thought lingers, stubborn and clear, because she really does. Maybe she's seen the commercial, or Amane's mentioned her before. After school, while packing his bag, he reflects on how he couldn't stop looking at her all day. Suddenly, she pops up beside him, grinning as she accuses him of staring. He panics, turns quickly, and stammers an apology, insisting it wasn't weird. She grabs his uniform and smirks, demanding an explanation. Her teasing lands, and he admits she reminds him of Michi. She taps her phone, pulls up a picture, and raises an eyebrow. So that's it. He fumbles, feeling like a creep for comparing her to an anime girl, but insists Michi's more than that. Bright, kind, always lifting people up. She pauses, then says, too casually, that maybe she'll stick by his side for a while, flashing Michi's photo like a pact. He covers his face, flustered, heart racing. She's ridiculous, but impossibly cute. Just as his cheeks are still burning, Amane appears, her voice flat, asking if that was supposed to be Michi. She adds, coldly, that she'd rather he not do that again. Before the tension settles, a group of boys approaches both girls with easy grins, inviting them to karaoke. Ichiji laughs, saying they're addicted to karaoke since they went yesterday, while Amane gives off that cool, saddest queen vibe that somehow draws them in even more. Ichiji agrees she has a way of making people feel like she's known them forever. One boy whispers that she's single and jokes about taking his shot. Watching from a distance, Takuya reflects on how distant their worlds seem like they belong to different realities. But he brushes it off. Today's the Kiraman random figure released the rare drop, one per person kind. That's where his heart lies. He reaches the store, relieved to find it quiet, though the emptiness stings a little. While wondering which figure he'll get, he spots both girls already there. Amane reacts instantly, blurting out that it's not what it looks like. He blinks, unsure what she's referring to, and she scrambles to explain it's for her little sister. Ichiji grins, saying maybe this isn't a coincidence. Maybe he's not so different after all. He laughs it off, but his eyes catch the figure in Amane's hands. She's holding a Kiraman one. He asks if they weren't heading to karaoke, and she explains it turned into a hookup hangout, so she ditched. Ichiji adds that she followed because Amane walking off like a giddy gremlin seemed more fun. Watching them, he wonders, maybe they're not into all that dating stuff either. Maybe Amane-san he really is a fan. He wants to ask if they should team up to increase their chances, but hesitates and turns away, telling himself their worlds don't overlap. He'll just come back later. But before he can go, both girls grab his bag strap, calling him back. Hey, Otaku, you came for the figure, right? Let's get one together. Amane adds that if he pulls Vamp the Great, they should trade, then quickly amends that it's her sister's favorite. Something about that slip makes him pause. Maybe, just maybe, some Jarus are kind to Otaku. Later, the three of them buy their figures. Amane lights up, overjoyed to pull Vamp Sama. Ichiji appears and gasps, it's the secret figure. She shrugs with an awkward smile, believing it's good. The next day in class, as usual, the two gals sit ahead of our Otaku. Ichiji scrolling excitedly through her phone. She nudges Amane, announces a new update on Makuni Senpai's story, then casually adds that the basketball captain confessed to her. Amane nods, confirms it was him, and that she turned him down. Ichiji gasps, stunned, reminding her how popular he is and dubbing her the unconquerable queen. But Amane just shrugs, says she doesn't really know him. Listening from behind, Takuya feels once again how far their world seems from his. Maybe the idea of her being a secret otaku was just a fantasy. But then Ichiji asks what kind of guy she likes. Amane pauses, then describes someone slim, pale, blonde, and great at wearing black. He stiffens. That's Vamp the Great, the elegant Kiraman. Ichiji squints, guessing K-pop or Hollywood, and for a second he wonders the same. Then Amane adds, deadpan, he should be weak to sunlight. Takuya's heart skips. That's it is Vamp. Suddenly, she appears behind him, grabs his collar, and narrows her eyes, asserting it's not what he's thinking. He flinches, swearing he didn't say anything. He expects another "it's my sister's thing" dodge, but quietly asks, so she doesn't like Vamp, right? Her eyes glint as she smirks, calling him out for asking something he clearly knows, and for making it sound cheesy. Ichiji grins from the side, way too smug, prompting Amane to snap at her to stop smiling like that. Watching them bicker, he can't shake the feeling, she really is an otaku. Next period, Ichiji, as always empty-handed, turns to him with a dramatic face and asks for a ruler. He raises a brow, suggesting she just asked normally. Instead, she rises like she's on stage, claiming the class is full of guys ready to offer her supplies, so he should feel honored. He stares, baffled. Seriously, what is going on with her? A few days later, the tables turn. He forgets his English textbook during a period with the school's strictest teacher. Class has already begun, and raising his hand now would be social suicide. Desperate not to stand out, he slips his math book onto the desk, praying it goes unnoticed. Just then, Ichiji turns to ask for his red pen, but her eyes catch the math cover instead. His heart drops. She's seen it. She's absolutely going to blow his cover, and she does, stands up and waves the math book like a flag, announcing how he's trying to outsmart the teacher with a fake. His soul leaves his body, but instead of snitching, she smoothly adds that she herself forgot her textbook. The teacher snaps at her and tells her to go share with someone. Half the class's boys leap at the chance, but she shrugs them off and strolls over to his desk, saying she'll sit with So-kun. He's speechless. Sliding into the seat beside him, she leans over, amused, whispering how bold it was to use a math book as cover. He's about to ask why she bailed him out, but then spots the English textbook tucked under her arm. She had it. She knew. She saved him on purpose. With a wink, she says it's a thank you for all the times he lent her stuff. His ears burn. Then she smirks, grabs the red pen, and tells him to turn around and face her properly while she says it. On Sunday, he travels to the next town, supposedly for shopping, but really it's for the Kiraman Hero Show, a rare event anywhere near him. When he arrives at the Rooftop Plaza, he finds it almost empty. The lack of a crowd stirs conflicting feelings. He wishes Kiraman were more popular, but there's also comfort in it being a hidden gem known only to the few who truly care. Such contradictions, he thinks, are peak otaku behavior, but since he's already here, he grabs a front row seat to savor every moment. As he settles in, he politely asks the girl beside him if the seat's taken. She answers curtly, face hidden behind a cap and mask. He eyes her suspiciously, nearly asking if she's Amane-san, but she quickly brushes it off with a stiff voice, denying any mix-up. Amused, he offers a trade. If either pulls the other's favorite, they swap. The girl lowers her disguise, revealing Amane, who lights up and agrees, especially if he gets Vamp. He'll have to hand it over. He notices she's stopped pretending, though she quickly insists she's only here for her sister, who caught a cold. Internally, he laughs. She's getting too good at this. Suddenly, the host appears, announcing Tomu-sama and Namazu's arrival, and his excitement flares. He jumps up but freezes when he sees her watching. Embarrassed, he mutters an apology, yet she calmly says it's obvious they're his favorite. Flustered, he tries to explain, calling the costume too intense. He praises her cool attitude. She smirks, saying she's enjoying the show but has no plans to geek out, unlike someone next to her. Then the host announces a surprise guest, Vamp the Great. She erupts, screaming with pure joy, startling him. As Vamp poses with dramatic flair, the announcer highlights the overexcited fan in front. Amane immediately ducks, flushed, muttering that she didn't hate it. He watches her recover in seconds, amused by how fast she rebounds. They dive into the show together, fully absorbed. Later, near the school vending machine, he's grumbling about the heat when Ichiji charges in, scolding him like he committed a crime. He says he's just getting a drink, but she shoots him a look, calling the vending machine a scam. For half the price, he could get 2 colas from the discount store inside. Without waiting, she grabs his wrist and drags him along like a determined mom. Once inside, chaos ensues. She tosses clothes at him, takes ridiculous pictures, and accidentally leads him into the women's underwear section, sending him into a frantic eye-covering panic. After all the chaos, they each get a cola for 150 yen. She flashes a smug grin at their bargain victory while he stands stunned, realizing she made him pay for both without even trying. Just then, her phone buzzes. She answers with ease, telling someone named Mizu that she's heading to karaoke. He blinks, connecting the dots. So she'd been waiting for someone else all along. Still, everything about today had felt suspiciously like a date. He pushes the thought aside, chiding himself not to read too much into it. Just 2 classmates killing time, that's all. As she waves goodbye, she tosses a playful wink, teasing him to go on another date sometime and thanking him for the cola. Dazed but grinning, he clenches his fist and declares under his breath that it was a date after all. The cola he sips afterward shocks him, not from the temperature, but from how impossibly sweet it tastes. The next day, Ichiji reenacts a Kiramon scene with dramatic sound effects, pop, gapoo, while he watches, amused. Suddenly, Amane joins in, casually noting they're talking about episode 4. He thinks about how she often slips into these chats like she's always been part of them. Kiramon may be the only thread connecting them, but sharing something you love really does feel like happiness. Ichiji asks how many episodes there are now, and she replies 14, adding that Volume 2 of the Blu-ray drops soon. She also mentions Volume 1 comes with a bonus, Episode 0. Ichiji lights up, saying she's super curious. Takuya offers to lend his Blu-ray, admitting he owns 2 copies, and Ichiji suggests stopping by his house after school. He agrees instinctively, only to freeze a second later. Wait, his house? He blurts out the thought in shock. Amane lifts a brow, teasing that even if it's Otaku-kun's place, going to a guy's house might be a bit much. Ichiji laughs, pointing out that Amane clearly isn't into boys anyway. Wrapping an arm around his shoulder, she grins that he's so obsessed with Kiramon. There's 0 chance he'd try anything sketchy. Flustered, he insists he wouldn't and grumbles about what that even means. Trying to deflect, he says that there's no real reason they shouldn't come. His parents are home, the place is a mess, and besides, it's not like Amane's joining, so there's no point to this discussion. Ichiji leans in with exaggerated shock, gasping that maybe he's hiding something. Could Otaku-kun actually be a real boy underneath it all? Panicking, he blurts that it's not like that, and the only thing he's hiding is some Kiramon drawings he made himself. Amane gives a thumbs up and says they're going. He stiffens as she leans over his desk, asking why she never knew he could draw Kiramon. She wants him to show her, well, technically, for her little sister who's been practicing, and even requests he draw a vamp. Amane's otaku mode flipped way too fast. Ichiji declares it decided. They're heading to his place. Spiraling, he begs them to listen for once. Outside his bedroom door, Ichiji leans close, asking if he's okay, and gently offers to let him go in first and hide anything he doesn't want them to see. But he straightens up, swallows his nerves, and states that he'll be fine, probably. Soon, they're seated on the floor of his room, Ichiji admiring how surprisingly neat and charming the place is while eyeing his collection with interest. Amane lounges beside her and casually asks to see the drawings he mentioned. He closes his eyes, reeling. 2 incredible gals are sitting in his room. What now? In Takuya's room, the 2 girls examine his shelf, exchanging remarks over his collection. One points out how much he must treasure a certain figurine, while the other gasps at spotting an Earth Sama limited edition prize, lamenting her failed attempts to win it. He, meanwhile, can barely process the surreal moment, his first time hosting anyone, and somehow there are 2 gals in his room, and he's not sure if he'll survive it emotionally. When Ichiji crouches to inspect the bottom shelf and casually asks about his graduation album, he responds with a strained laugh, muttering how she's really made herself at home, while internally, his heart feels ready to explode. Feeling the panic build, he decides it's time to get them moving, and while pulling out the Blu-ray, suggests they help themselves to the discs and enjoy them at their own place. But just as he grabs one, Ichiji slides up behind him, draping her arms over his shoulders and locking his hand in hers, saying she'd rather watch it with him. A flush creeps up his neck. This is too much heat in one room. Amane chimes in dryly that Ichiji's crossing into harassment territory, which Ichiji shrugs off without guilt. He tries regaining control, warning that watching the show with him might be a bad idea since he gets a little too into it, only for Ichiji to cut in, accusing him of spinning glow sticks and cheering like it's a live concert. Mortified, he insists it's not that extreme, at least not anymore, but the way Amane suddenly looks down tugs at him. Out loud, he fumbles through a defense, claiming even if someone did enjoy it like that, it wouldn't be weird. Amane responds softly that it's not really her, it's her little sister who begs her to try all that. When Ichiji presses further, asking what exactly they do together, Amane replies they usually craft handmade fans and dim all the lights. He stares, she's seriously that committed? Ichiji lights up, comparing it to a Johnny's concert and blurts she wants to try both, turning to glance between the two. Amane raises an eyebrow, warning she gets loud enough that people might mistake her for a full-blown otaku. Ichiji smirks that she's excited to see that side of her. Takuya adds that even if they do, they'll still provide plenty of real-time commentary on the beauty of each scene, the emotional weight, and the animation quality as it plays. Ichiji teases that Otaku-kun's already doing all that, prompting a sharp glare from Amane before the three of them settle in front of the screen, armed with a prompt card and even a glow stick. He pumps his fist and shouts for them to begin. Ichiji cheering that's the spirit. As the episode plays, he shouts about how amazing it is, caught up in the excitement. What he doesn't realize until much later is that not only is this his first time hosting guests, but he's sitting shoulder to shoulder with both girls in near darkness. Their emotions rise and fall with each scene. Ichiji enjoys herself in her own way, but he and Amane are practically sobbing, completely absorbed. When a serious moment shifts tone, Ichiji bursts into laughter while the other two are left stunned. As the episode ends, he thinks about how simply talking to someone about Kiramen is already fun, but going all in like this, otaku style, is something else entirely. Just then, Amane grabs his shirt, pointing out Pachi's hidden appearance on screen, excitedly asking if he saw the reflection in the girl's device. He shouts back in agreement, but inside he's frozen. Amane is touching him. He's used to Ichiji's casual, friendly contact by now, but Amane is usually distant, rarely even speaking closely with boys, let alone touching them. His brain short-circuits. Too close, too dark, too good, and now her sense messing with his focus. He can't even follow the show anymore. When he glances her way, he finds she's already looking at him, their faces mere inches apart. She asks if he's even paying attention, then quickly turns away, apologizing for getting too close. He stammers that it's his fault, just as Ichiji snaps a photo of them. Amane bolts up, yelling why Ichiji's taking pictures. Ichiji grins, swearing she won't show it to anyone but proudly claiming her ultra-rare Amane shot. He silently panics, wondering how to muster the courage to ask for a copy. Stretching lazily, Ichiji declares it's break time and opens the curtain, while he notes the girl now lying on his bed. As sunlight spills in, she announces she's uploading the pic to Instagram, and actually starts doing it. Amane shoots Ichiji a sharp look, prompting her to laugh nervously and claim she was only joking, calling her expression terrifying. Switching topics, Ichiji brings up Instagram, teasing Amane to check out Otaku-kun's account. She agrees, asking to see it herself. He panics, unable to meet her eyes, muttering that it's nothing special. She disagrees, saying every Kiramon fan art is rare and valuable. Thinking he'd feel the same in her place, he slowly opens his account and warns her not to be disappointed. She smiles, reminding him that after everything between them, why would she be? As she scrolls, her face shifts subtly, catching Ichiji's attention. He stiffens, worried she's underwhelmed, when suddenly she stands and asks if his account name is Ataki Ocean. His heart jumps. Ichiji chimes in from behind, surprised and asking if he's secretly famous. He quickly denies it, calling it just a hobby account with barely 50 followers, then asks how she even knows that name. Amane replies shyly that she's actually one of those followers, and he's stunned by how cute she looks saying it. She confesses that she browses fan art every night before bed with her account set to private, always searching for Kiramon content. Overwhelmed but grateful, he thanks her, blushing. Ichiji smirks, saying it looks like the two are sharing some secret romance, which both instantly deny, flustered. But by now, it's obvious. Amane is definitely an otaku. By the end of it all, he ends up giving her a drawing lesson. As he sketches on his tablet, she leans in close, taking notes and admiring the pad, making him swallow hard. She asks to try drawing too, and he hands it over, She smiles, saying that with this, she's officially a contributor now. He watches her, amazed by how open she's being about her love for otaku culture. He turns toward Ichiji, apologizing for neglecting her, only to find her sprawled across the bed, and for a second, his mind goes somewhere it shouldn't. She somehow looks way too suggestive like that. But he immediately shakes off the thought, mentally scolding himself. He admits he hasn't exactly been the most attentive host. She waves it off, saying she's used to it by now, especially being around Amane, who always draws attention. Even when they're together, people still trip over themselves trying to talk to her. Amane fires back that it works both ways. Guys constantly try to hit on Ichiji too. Ichiji giggles, calling themselves too popular for her own good. He watches the exchange, thinking just how far removed their world is from his. These two are practically school celebrities, so having them over in his room like this feels unreal. Shiji suddenly asks which of them he prefers, catching him off guard. Eyes wide, he quickly flashes his Sachiko DVD and declares his undying loyalty to her instead. Ichiji bursts out laughing, calling it classic him. In truth, he can't choose between them anyway. Eventually, the visit wraps up and the girls stand to leave, both waiting cheerfully. Amane thanks him for the drawing lesson and says they should do it again sometime. He manages to thank them back, telling them this was the first time he's ever had this much fun, or even had friends over at all. Ichiji pokes his nose, teasing him for acting too formal, then thanks him for letting her see Amane's otaku side for once. Amane groans, blushing and telling Ichiji to stop embarrassing her. Then she turns to him with a gentle smile and says today was really fun, and she should be the one thanking him. Touched, he waves at them as they go, thinking about how genuinely happy the day made him. All they did was hang out, and yet it meant so much. Ichiji, walking away, muses that for someone who just played around all day, he went out of his way to thank them so sincerely. Something about that is kind of charming. Meanwhile, Amane walks in quiet thought, realizing she can't even remember the last time she had so much fun, and felt so at ease doing it. Maybe, just maybe, he's not too bad. After seeing them off, he leans against the door, a dazed grin tugging at his lips. Today was unexpectedly fun, though he's still unsure what any of it meant. Back in his room, the messy sheets and lingering quiet hit harder than expected. It feels oddly empty. Maybe that's how it is when friends leave. Friends. Even though she used the word, he suddenly realizes he doesn't even have her contact. He drops onto the bed, catching a faint scent in the air, something warm and familiar that makes the room feel briefly full again. Shaking his head, he mutters that it's just leftover imagination. He's not about to spiral into pervy thoughts. He grabs his sketch pad to distract himself, only to feel Amane beside him this time, grinning, asking about the vamp. He flinches, checks. No one there. Still, her presence lingers, uninvited but vivid. Crawling into bed, he freezes, picturing the other rolling lazily across it, calling it cozy. Groaning, he clutches his head. He's become a prisoner in his own room. By morning, he stumbles into school looking like he got flattened. Messy hair, dark circles, a dead-eyed aura. When he greets them weakly, both return a bright good morning. One gives him a curious look, asking if something's wrong. He waves it off, though internally he knows the truth. His heart had been racing all night, sleep nowhere in sight. He realizes the real danger of a garu. He wonders if aloof Amane might actually be a closet otaku. Moments later, she glances around and asks about her friend. He tells her she left early for something at home. With the halls mostly empty and no one else around, he realizes it's the perfect time to dig deeper. Gathering his nerve, he finally asks her to reveal the anonymous account she uses to follow him. She turns slightly, cool and firm. She doesn't want to. When he presses, she admits she uses it to like stuff she's embarrassed about. That's all the confirmation he needs. Dramatically, he announces that she's just exposed herself. She is an otaku, but she doesn't flinch. Calmly, she fires back that while his flair is on brand, he clearly lacks finesse. He failed to seal the deal. With that, she admits it is her personal account, but says it was only made to show content to her little sister, a third grader who doesn't have a phone yet. Her excuse completely derails him. He mutters in disbelief, another clean dodge. Trying to recover, he claims if that's really the case, then she only followed his account to share Kiraman art with her sister, meaning she's clearly not an otaku. Flustered but committed, she sticks to the story, confirming that's exactly it. He bows dramatically in defeat, sighing that he's convinced now. What a shame. He'd really hoped he'd found someone to live comment Kiraman episodes with. That hits its mark. In a sudden burst, she blurts out the truth. Her username is Teigoku Xiaoju. He freezes, stunned by her admission. But before he can react, another girl calls Amane over to go home. Straightening up, she calls back she's coming, then turns to him and firmly tells him to contact her now that the secret's out. Still reeling, he nods and replies with an obedient yes, ma'am. The moment she's gone, he opens Instagram and stares at the account. She's not just a fan, she's a hardcore Kiramon devotee. Later at home, nerves crash down hard. Tonight's episode feels different. He'll be watching it while texting her. As soon as the episode starts, he messages her, and the reply flies in instantly. She gushes over the adorable animation, drops trivia about the director, and even points out Vamp Sama's reflection detail. He stares at the screen. This is Amane? Her tone is completely transformed, completely immersed, and yet she's still the effortlessly cool Jaru. It rattles him. He has nothing that stands out, not even as an otaku. He can't let it end like this. His pride flares. Otaku pride. He fires back with his own barrage of passionate commentary. Their chat keeps going well past the episode, spiraling into deep debate late into the night. The next day, when she glides into class with her usual charm, the others greet her like always. He watches her quietly, disbelief sinking in. Is this really the same person who was raving about Vamp Sam hours ago? Maybe she was just playing along. Maybe he went overboard. Guilt starts to crawl in. Maybe he should apologize. But then she suddenly pops up beside him, eyes sparkling, and tells him yesterday was amazing. His eyes widen. Amazing? She smiles and says they should do it again. He stammers out a yes, only if she's okay with it. Just then, Ichiji enters, catching the exchange with narrowed eyes and dryly commenting that maybe that kind of talk isn't very school appropriate. Amane jumps and blurts out they were just discussing the weather, while Ichiji crosses her arms, unimpressed, saying sure, if that's what she wants to call it. Looking back, he has to admit, yeah, it did sound a little too spicy. Later, while browsing a store, his eyes light up at the sight of the legendary Kiramon Pets pillow cover, the one fans have been desperate to find since release. He clutches it in triumph, grinning at how it became a rare treasure, with even animation stores clueless about its stock. Trusting his gut, he checked the kids section of the supermarket and struck gold. Chuckling nervously, he wonders what people would think of a high schooler rummaging through children's goods. Just then, a voice scolds someone named Hibiki, and before he can process it, a boy crashes into him and runs off. A girl hurries over, bowing slightly as she apologizes for her wild little brothers. He waves it off, saying he's fine, until he looks up and freezes. It's Ichiji, makeup-free, hair tousled, dressed in oversized pajamas. She panics and shushes him quickly when he blurts her name, explaining she's helping out at home, her family's big, and she lends a hand. Stunned by the contrast between this flustered version of her and her usual poise, he stares a beat too long, prompting her to snap that she's barefaced, stop looking. But to him, she looks oddly cute. Suddenly, she steps closer, grabs his arm, and with a sheepish smile, asks him to keep it secret. He nods, stunned again by how casually she touches him despite her earlier panic. Then her brothers return, pointing and teasing, asking if he's her boyfriend. Mortified, she yells at them to shut up, then mutters a quick apology before dragging them off. He smiles, saying he doesn't mind. The next day, eager, he tells Amane he found the Kiramon pillow and bought one. She gasps, half jealous, demanding a location. As he explains, he spots Ichiji glaring from the side, silently warning him. He plays it cool, saying it was in the kids section and promises to DM her the spot later. Amane sighs, saying it all makes sense now. It would be in the kids section. Then Ichiji, brows raised, remarks that the two of them are following each other on Instagram. He confirms it casually. They wanted to live comment during Kiramon. Amane nods, saying it's the same account she mentioned earlier. Ichiji then holds out her phone, expression firm, saying she wants in. He blinks, asking if she's sure. She nods, admitting she'd hesitated, thinking Insta was part of his otaku life, and unsure if he'd want her following that side of him. But now she doesn't want to be left out. She adds with mock frustration that Amane never replies to her messages anyway. He laughs awkwardly, saying that's odd. Outside of anime chat, Amane replies instantly. At that, she looks away, and Ichiji sharply turns to her, demanding an explanation. Amane mumbles that replying leads to calls, and those last forever. Ichiji groans, then declares she'll message him too. Flustered but genuinely pleased, he tells her he'd actually love that. He's always happy to talk Kiraman and doesn't really have other friends, so he's always free. The girls exchange a glance, a bit surprised but touched. That night, fresh from a warm shower, he reflects on how something as simple as an Instagram follow has made things feel real, like they're actual friends now. Then his phone buzzes. Curious, he checks and stares in disbelief. 2 new messages, one from Ishiji inviting him to a movie, and one from Amane asking him to come to the anime event. Holding the phone, he stands frozen, realizing he's just received 2 very different invites from both girls. Staring at both messages, he panics. Are these actual date invites? His heart races. There's no way he can choose not someone like him. Maybe it's a prank, but no, neither of them seems the type. He spends the night restless, unsure what to do. The next morning, his jaw drops. Amane and Ichiji show up dressed up, looking nothing like their school selves. Ichiji smirks, teasing that his grand solution was a group outing. Clearly, he can't say no to attention. He's flustered, thinking how painfully cute they look and how impossible it feels to walk beside them like it's normal. Should he compliment them? Not a chance, not with his NPC-level courage. Ichiji leans to Amane, whispering that he looks overwhelmed. Amane replies that he's probably dying inside. Then Ichiji grins and asks if this is really Amane's first time going out alone with a guy. She stiffens, denying it, then throws it back. Did Ichiji want alone time with him too? With a coy shrug, she says maybe, maybe not. Amane mutters that she had a place in mind, but suggests they all hang out together instead. Ichiji sighs with a hint of annoyance, then smirks and says fine. She'll take the second shift. She'll kill an hour and come back for her turn. Takiya freezes, realizing this is actually happening. 2 back-to-back dates, 1 hour each. Flustered, he blurts out Ishiji's name, inquiring what she means, but she just warns him not to go too far. Watching her walk off, Amane wonders if she really wants that much alone time with him. Ichiji suddenly turns back and adds, by too far, she means hotels. Both instantly yell they'd never. As Ichiji disappears into the crowd, Amane apologizes, saying even she doesn't understand Ishiji half the time. He reassures her and asks if there's anywhere she'd like to go. She suggests Animate. The fan book release is today. He agrees, and as they stroll side by side, her presence feels sharper than ever. Heads turn to look at her, and he realizes she seems even more unreachable than she does at school. Then 2 flashy guys step in. One whistles about her legs, calls her perfect, and invites her to eat. The other mocks him, asking if he's her little brother. Panic seizes him. Nail Garrus with thick makeup. What is he supposed to do? One grabs his shoulder, saying he can tag along. But before he can react, Amane cuts in coldly, shutting them down with a single glare and curt rejection. The tension breaks instantly. He stands there stunned. How could he forget that Amane's known as the Ice Queen, admired for her grace and unshakable coolness? Just her stare is enough to freeze creeps in place. She looks over and asks if she scared him. He stammers a denial, but she brushes it off, admitting people often mistake her resting face for anger. Still, it comes in handy, like now. He tells her honestly how amazing that was, how she's an otaku and still so effortlessly cool. That contrast leaves him in awe. She lightly places a hand on his back, teasing him about calling her an otaku. After all, she only got into this stuff because of her sister. He hesitates, then wonders, if she isn't one, what does that make him? Later that day, she beams while clutching 3 pristine first editions, clearly thrilled, and he watches her sparkle with admiration, thinking that kind of joy only radiates from a real otaku. Noticing his odd stare, she quirks a brow and reminds him she's not one. He replies with a soft grin, saying her eyes give her away. He can read them like a mirror. Nearby, the shopkeeper mutters that they look like the typical flashy Jaru and nerdy boyfriend pair. At a cafe near the station, they wait for Ichiji. Amane stirs her drink with a content sigh, mentioning how well it went and how happy her little sister will be. Seeing his blank face, she leans in and asks if he's okay. Internally, he groans. This trendy cafe feels way too high-end for him. Trying to steer the mood casually, he brings up her sister, admitting he doesn't know anything besides the Kiraman obsession. Her expression shifts. She turns away and quietly asks him to keep what she's about to say a secret. He promises instantly. To his shock, she reveals she's actually an only child. He stammers an apology, but she signals him to let her finish. Turns out the so-called sister is just the daughter of her mom's friend, a girl who practically lives at her place and clings so much that calling her a little sister is just easier. He chuckles, half expecting some dramatic story or maybe even an imaginary sibling. She glares, calling the guest creepy, then admits it's exhausting to explain each time. He muses aloud that he'd like to meet this mystery girl someday. Then it hits him. Kiraman is technically a show for little girls, so he's curious what the actual target audience thinks. She side-eyes him with a sly grin and asks if that's his way of angling for an invite to her place. Panicked, he denies it, apologizing for sounding like he used Kiraman as a cover. She gives a small nod, acknowledging the mix-up, then casually asks if he wants to come over anyway. Surprised, he checks if she's being serious. Looking away, she explains that both her parents are at work, so they'd have plenty of privacy to talk otaku stuff, though she's unsure if that little girl will be around. He stiffens, realizing they might actually be alone, and wonders if she even gets how that sounds. The air grows awkward until Ichiji appears with a cheerful greeting, and both instantly chime in, calling her timing perfect. Now it's her turn for a one-on-one. At a nearby bench, she glances around and decides the spot's good enough. When he asks what exactly they're supposed to do in a park, she shrugs, saying there's no time for a movie, so they'll just have to make their own fun. He blinks, confused, make their own fun? Suddenly she whips out her phone and snaps a selfie using a filter that gives him outrageously oversized lips. He gapes at the grotesque screen while she bursts out laughing, revealing it's a TikTok filter and declaring that he's in for a series of embarrassing moments today. Payback for witnessing her cringe before. He flails, begging her to reword that before someone hears. She ignores him and keeps piling on filters, giggling as he squirms with each ridiculous edit. Trying to regain control, he suggests taking a picture of her instead, but she immediately refuses, claiming today is all about capturing his moments. Setting the phone on a stand, she grabs his hand and suggests a cute little dance might convince her to join in. He panics at the idea, swearing he's terrible at dancing, but she reassures him it's just a simple 15-second routine. Nothing fancy, just follow her. As the camera starts, he fumbles through the steps, trying to mirror her movements while she leads with effortless rhythm. When they replay the clip, she nearly doubles over in laughter, barely able to speak as she mocks his expressions and flailing arms. Meanwhile, he slumps beside her, groaning that this might be the most humiliating footage ever recorded and pleads with her not to post it. She promises not to post it, but when he asks what the dance was even called, she pauses, shrugs, and nonchalantly uploads it under the hashtag #coupledance. Right after, her eyes gleam as she points to a nearby gachapon machine. It's a Kiraman capsule. He rushes over, thrilled, and pulls out a cable-hugging Kiraman figure, amazed at its quality for just 200 yen. Sitting beside him, she laughs, calling him a true Kiraman fan, then casually asks if there's anything else he's really into. Caught off guard, he hesitates, then cautiously asks if she means other anime. When she says she meant something more personal, like a girl he might like, his face turns red as he stammers that someone like him isn't really cut out for that kind of thing. Panic rises in his chest. Was she seriously bringing up romance? Could she be hinting at something? But when she teasingly asks if he's assuming she likes him, he flails and blurts out a hard denial. She goes quiet for a beat, then admits romance never meant much to her. Friends and family were enough, and she never really got the hype around dating talk. But then, standing, she ruffles his hair gently and says that when it comes to him, maybe she's just a little bit interested. He freezes, blinking in disbelief, only managing a stunned what. She grins and says next time, their date should be just the two of them. Then in the blink of an eye, she waves off the moment and calls out to Anime-chan, dragging him along to watch a movie. He's left reeling. Was that a real confession or just another playful tease? With her, it's impossible to tell. As Amane walks up, she teases that his face looks red, and Ichiji brushes it off, blaming the summer heat. But Amane leans in, voice low, asking how serious this all is. Ichiji pauses, then answers he's probably about as serious as Amane is, which, if he's being honest, isn't zero. She hums thoughtfully but points out that Yuchaku-kun clearly doesn't notice either of them that way, considering he's completely and utterly in love with Kiraman. Ichiji chuckles and asks how her part of the date went. Amane instantly denies it was anything like a date, but inside he panics. He got so swept up in everything that he might have missed something important. And all the while, he sits quietly nearby, completely unaware that he's been the center of their conversation from start to finish. Ichiji furrows her brow, trying to remember the name of the new Kiraman from last week, something tied to electricity. Without missing a beat, Takuya and Amane shout in unison, Jack, the single boy type. Takuya lights up instantly, launching into a tangent about how Jack is the 7th mechanical type in the series, voiced by none other than Teian Teichi-san, famous for dubbing foreign films. It's the perfect example of how asking an otaku a single question usually nets you 10 pieces of trivia you never asked for. She chuckles, remarking how much they know, and he shrugs, saying he's confident in his memory. Amane chimes in, encouraging her to ask anything anytime. Ishiji smirks and guesses they must be excited for the midterms, but both immediately deflate. She raises an eyebrow. Maybe not? He mutters that tests are a nightmare for otaku. Ichiji shouts in mock outrage, asking where his earlier confidence vanished. After all, they never use their memorization for studying. Turning to Amane, she asks her stance. She calmly replies she's not an otaku, but Ichiji clarifies he meant the test. Amane replies that she's pretty good at modern Japanese, especially that subject. Hearing this, he mentally notes the rest might be a disaster. Curious, he asks how she did on April's evaluation test. She avoids the question, pointing out that he ranked first. He estimates his score was around 300, making her glance around evasively. He reassures her there's no need to worry, just do her best. He even adds that small flaws like that make her feel more human. Annoyed, Amane snaps that she doesn't need his pity, then flips the question to Ichiji. She casually responds that the test wasn't too bad. She got something like 423, probably averaged around 80. The number hits both of them like a thunderbolt. She casually adds that she got a perfect score in English. He glances at her, then Amane, muttering that both of them are full of surprises. She raises an eyebrow and scoffs, assuming he means it in a bad way, at least in her case. During class, the teacher instructs them to solve the next value while he doodles absent-mindedly, admiring how well his rocket-in sketch turned out. His eyes drift to Amane, noting how good she looks today, and her posture's not bad either. Ichiji idly rolls a pencil in her hand. After school, he heads out, thinking he'll clean up that rocketman drawing and maybe add color. Later at karaoke, Ichiji sings first, then asks what song Amane will choose. She shrugs. Maybe something cool, like a Kara track. Another girl jumps in, excitedly suggesting a song from her favorite idol group, Snow White Boy. When she asks if Ichiji knows it, she says she's probably heard it on TikTok and suggests they do it. Amane freezes. These song choices clearly aren't from her world. She's an otaku, not a K-pop fan. Back home before the quiz, Takuya proudly admires his newly organized Kiramon shelf, while Amane lounges on her bed, legs kicking as she declares her novel God Tier. Ichiji hums, trying to remember the duet song from karaoke, and finally does, but when the quiz results drop, both otakus are disappointed, while Ichiji scores unexpectedly high. Shocked, Takuya asks how their scores ended up so far apart. Amane snaps that she was at karaoke with her, wasn't she? Ichiji retorts, asking if they ever actually pay attention in class. Turns out the quiet girl who sits in front of him, Ichiji, is secretly a top student. She leans over to help, suggesting the correct tense is past perfect. He blinks, amazed, asking if she secretly studies at karaoke. Laughing, she tells him she simply listens in class and reviews material sometimes, nothing out of the ordinary. He stares, thinking her method is flawless, while he's the one zoning out. Hesitant, he asks for help on problem 6 in story form. She adjusts her glasses and tells him to wait a second, scanning the problem. He watches her quietly, thinking she looks really cute. She pauses and asks if something's wrong. He comments that her glasses are unexpected. She explains she only wears them when looking at someone up close, then teases, asking if she looks too cute for words. He replies the vibe she's giving now is completely different from when he last saw her at the supermarket. Flustered, she yells at him to erase that memory completely and focus on conjugation forms instead. Snapping back into study mode, she urges him to pay attention. He nods quickly, saying of course. She adds that this topic might be on the midterm, then dives into a lecture. Meanwhile, he's silently losing it, thinking there's no way he can admit how insanely cute she looks, like breathtakingly cute. She suddenly stops and asks if he's even listening. Caught off guard, he stammers out an apology, admitting he lost focus. She mumbles maybe the glasses don't suit her after all. He blurts out a loud denial, but she says that's what her little brother keeps telling her. Offended, he yells that she's got it all wrong. The glasses look amazing on her, so cute it left him speechless. Stunned, she spins around, cheeks flaring, and orders him to quit flirting and focus. He panics, shouting what, flirting? She snaps that he had better memorize everything she marked. He mumbles a yes, then thanks her only for her to smirk and say she's not even wearing the glasses anymore. With 5 days left to the midterm, he grows increasingly tense, convinced he's doomed to fail. The anxiety builds until he escapes into anime, clinging to it like a lifeline. Watching intently, he finds unexpected motivation from a determined character and vows to do the same. The next day, he heads to the library, determined to stay on track, thinking if Sachiko can do her best, so can he. When Ichiji and Amane arrive and spot him, they're both stunned. Ichiji gasps, "Is that really the Otaku?" She approaches, asking if he's planning to study here too. He confirms, proudly declaring he's on a journey to find his focus. Ichiji laughs, pointing out Amane said something similar earlier about her own study journey. He freezes, thinking seriously. She grins and turns to Amane, saying the two of them must share some strange bond. It's like they think exactly alike. Amane casually mentions that her earlier line was actually from the newest Karaman anime. Both girls take a seat at his table, and Ichiji suggests they all study together since they're already there, confirming with him if it's fine to sit. He quickly agrees, but once they begin, he finds himself flustered just looking at them and turns away, thinking there's no way he can concentrate surrounded like this. As time passes, Ichiji suddenly stands up, announcing that it's already 5 p.m. and she needs to hurry home. Concerned, he asks if everything's all right, and she assures him it's just her turn to cook dinner when her mom's out. Amane chimes in that no one's home at her place either and pleads for Ichiji to come with her. She jokes that Amane calls drinking water a meal when her mom's gone, and though she's tempted, she declines. He listens quietly, thinking Amane probably isn't good at cooking. Ichiji reminds them both to stay focused in her absence, warning them not to get sidetracked with Kiramon talk. The girls giggle, and Amane cheekily responds that it's not like that's never happened before. He agrees, saying it'd be chaos with the midterm if they did. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, they're deep in conversation about Kiramon, pointing at a sketch as he explains how its tail curls up top. Amane gasps, admitting defeat and frustration, and they move on to drawing a Kiramon memory battle. When the library bell rings, he announces it's closing time and suggests wrapping up. She jumps up, refusing to let him go now that he's winning, begging for one more question. He pleads back, "No more, please," but she tries again, suggesting they switch to famous court battles. He groans in defeat as they leave, chatting and laughing. She admits it was really fun, though she insists she won the famous court round and could have taken the drawing battle if they had continued. He points out that she only won by one question and notes she really hates losing. As they walk, he realizes their routes overlap and asks if her house is in the same direction. She replies yes, surprised he didn't know his house is further back. When they both reach for the zebra crossing button, their hands touch, making them jolt and quickly pull back. He stammers an apology, and she brushes it off, insisting it's nothing. Trying to ease the moment, she comments that most people forget to press the button anyway. He agrees, awkward silence hanging between them. He wonders what this weird tension is, and when she finally informs him her house is that way, he nods, waves, and says he'll see her tomorrow. But just as he turns to leave, she calls out, "Hey," and asks, quietly, if he wants to stop by. The question hits him hard, prompting him to freeze in place.
Here I am.